And we are back to it, the Vauxhall Nova. So, where did we leave off in the last episode? So, Vauxhall Nova, we are back to it. Back on with the back end. I want to get this finished, then we're going to move on to the roof and work our way through the car, basically. So, if you haven't caught the previous episode, none of this will make sense. So go and check it out. We're helping Pete Mate out again with another car. This is something a little bit different, a few tricky repairs, but I'm kind of doing it in sections because that's how my head works, break it down. It's one big project, break it down into little projects. Otherwise you just get overwhelmed and you can't do it all. Don't look further ahead than you need to right yet now, unless you know it's going to be terrible, and then you might want to just prepare yourself. However, it's okay. Sections. So in the last episode, we got all this done. So this repair, if you haven't seen, I'll try and splice in a bit of footage. All of that was gone. So we've got a repair section, which we cut out from that. Put that in. Off camera, what I've done is I've gone round and cleaned all around these edges, which have got like just surface rust. So we're going to treat all that. However, we can't treat this because it's actually missing, look. You can put my finger there. So we're going to have to make a little section up for that. Potentially a little section up for this bit, which is kind of the same. All along here is pretty good. I think someone's already been here and repaired that because you can see some weld lines there. Same there. All your boot rubber covers this, but obviously you want it solid. And then you've got the same there. Probably have to make a little piece for that. And then all that there is solid, it's just surfaced. Someone's been in already and kind of cleaned back the edge, but I've just gone over it again. And we'll put some rust treatment all in there, but that is good and solid. And obviously now it matches that nice top piece that we put in. So in this episode, this is the plan. It doesn't always go to plan. I'm sorry, I'm absolutely full of a cold. But bear with me. I'll try and work the audio if it's bad when I edit. I want to get this all done here, and then we have got this really annoying little repair to do here. So I don't know if I'm going to do it in two sections because that's all good and solid there, but then there's a hole the other side of this cross member. So I might do a piece here because you've got the chassis rail to weld onto, and then do a little piece in there. But if I show you the underside, so underneath the car you get a bit of a better view. So that's that hole that's right in the corner, and then there's that small hole there. But all of this could do with a good wire wheel just to see quite how bad it is, because all the original factory underseal is just coming off now. But looking at the underside of this car, you know, it is actually pretty decent. All this is just surface where the paint's just come off. So I might get under there for a wire wheel, go a bit further for Pete, and try and get this all cleaned back because it is a bit scabby. And I think someone's kind of done that the other side, so let's just see. But yeah, it's all just, it's where it's just starting to go. I think it's come off the road at the right time before it gets bad. But yeah, it's just flaky underseal. It's nothing to worry about, nothing that can't be sorted. But yeah, look at that. I think that needs new rubber there. At least it's problems. So yeah, we're going to start cleaning all this back and try and get rid of these holes, shall we? Right, let's get stuck in. That was a bit of a slog getting all that done, but we've got 2 repairs done down here. As you can see, I've started just putting some rust treatment on all the, basically someone has sanded it all to bare metal before, I think, just to see how bad things were. So I'm just treating all that. Can't even tell where the repair was, which is a big sign of a good repair. There's actually 2 in there somewhere. Up here, done the same again, so there's a repair here. And then the really big bit that was on this side. The really big bit that was on this side was this big long run of it there. So you will notice as well, I only put one skin of steel back in, and this is a, you know, it's pinch welded, spot welded together, but I've used a thicker steel, so it's to save me a bit of time. I've basically all I've cut back is what I needed to, but you actually couldn't tell. So it's come out really, really well. Proper chuffed with it. So we're going to get some cure rust, like I say, all around here. I think just needing some investigation work all the way down here, and this is all bare metal and already rusted. So I'm just going to treat it all, and then we'll get some primer and everything, and then the whole aperture of all of this is done. And then I'm going to have some dinner because I'm hungry. And then we'll do this lovely big hole. So yeah, I am trying to film as much as I can, guys, while I'm doing this, but obviously I'm fighting weather all the time out here, so I'm just trying to crack on. Everything's got a time scale at the end of the day, so but let's get some rust treatment on everything, and then we know everything's good and solid and treated. And while I'm doing that, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? It would massively help me out. Helps pay for all bits and bobs to do these kind of projects, but also it helps the channel grow. So please do like, share and subscribe to these videos. If you feel like you want to become a member, please do. That would be awesome. Become a Patreon as well. You get to see videos a little bit earlier. You get to see a bit of behind the scene chat when I've got something to talk about. But yeah, it is all good fun, and I know this Nova is a bit different and it has got in the way of other projects, but I like to help friends out as much as I can, and this is a little bit something different. So thank you to everyone with the positive comments on this car at the beginning. Although some people are like, why are you bothering saving it? Everything deserves saving. Every car's got a story. People like things for various reasons. This isn't my bag at all. I don't get the whole Nova thing, I won't lie, it's not for me. Cool little car, but would I own one? Probably not. But that's why the world of the car scene is great, because we all like what we like. So just get loads of rust treatment everywhere, and then that's got a good bit of time to go off, and then we can get some primer on it by the end of play today and know that we're done all around here. It's all good and treated. If it needs redoing, I'll come around with the treatment a bit more, but it is purely because someone's just sanded this back and I just don't want it to get worse. So while I do that, you go subscribe. Catch you in a bit. A bit of a dustpan and brush and clean out of this corner. This is kind of what we're facing. So right at the bottom there's a little support that joins the arch to the back panel to the light kind of aperture panel, if you know what I mean. It kind of ties it all in. I mean, it's still fully welded everywhere else, but it's just started to let go at the bottom. So you could have put a little bit in there and you could put a little bit in there, but really all of that is so heavily pitted, I don't think I'd want to leave that, because it's just going to come back. So my head is going to take all of it out, cut this bottom piece off here where it's connected, so then we can slide and let a new panel in there. Obviously it's a repair this, you know, we're getting this car on the road, it's not a concourse car. We'll do the best job we can, but if I can slide a panel in there, I can weld it from the underside on in that area because of the access, but then I can also weld a nice plate in here, and then we can make a little tab to join it all back together at the back. So that's where my head's going. There's not a lot of space to film in here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you guys in for updates as I go, but I'm going to start cutting away all of this and then get underneath, cut this tab off, and then we'll get a plate of steel in there and make it good. So there we have it. There's all the rock cut out. It has kind of escalated somewhat. That's the chassis rail at the rear, which is got a little bit of a rough spot there, which I'm going to cut that out and make that again, so the chassis rail is completely solid again, but the actual inside of it's just got wax and all sorts of bits and pieces in it, but it's good. But yeah, it came out in so many sections, I've got no way of making a template either. It's just so rotten, but it's out. So we're going to try and make something to go in there, and that way I can slide it under this strengthening panel for the rear lights then, and then we can rejoin it together. But yeah, it looks better just cutting it out, doesn't it? It always looks better at this stage. I know it sounds silly, but it does. Having looked on the other side, of the car, it looks like, so having looked on the other side, I mean, it's covered in dust, but this side has already had the same repair and then it's been rejoined back on. Didn't look like it's as bad this side, but it's been redone this side, so it looks like it's obviously a very common area to have this work done. So I'm going to make this little bit up here, just because I won't be happy if I leave it like that. So I'm going to join that back together, and then we'll look for some suitable steel to replace all that rubbish. So that's seam sealed. I did it in 2 sections in the end because I didn't have any flat sheet steel, but as you can see, that's all seam sealed in. Made that little tab back up, and that's all back in there. Obviously the whole thing's going to get covered in paint, but yeah, all the boot aperture is completely done. Big section in there, section up in there, section up there, big section there, section there, another section there. You get the gist. That's how it's worked. I've also swept out the boot floor, so I kind of feel like this area is kind of done with now with the car. So I thought I'd finish up this video with kind of briefing you on what the next job's going to be. I kind of want to work my way forward, so I'm a bit stuck on whether to do the door next, because I can take the door off and do it in the garage if it rains, set up some lighting or something like that. So I can potentially get on with the door next, or I can get on with the roof. Right, so the door has had the bottom, or the most part of the bottom from there, cut. As you can see, the car has had a seal as well at some point. So the bottom lip needs doing something with before we can even think about putting a skin on, and there is a skin repair in there. I'll work out what these markings are, but I'd like to not go near it because there's a swage line there. Don't know if you can see that. So we've got the door that we can do next, and it's kind of in the motion of moving forward. Or we've got this horrendous part of the car. I actually don't think any of this is going to go through. I'm going to really give it death with the wire wheel and see what's what, but it is going to need quite a bit of welding across the front, and definitely some on that side. So let's take a look. So yeah, I'm pretty confident a lot of this is going to go through, and you can see that a lot of that has already gone through, and I reckon if you push hard enough on that, we're going to have some problems. But what I want to do is get in here, hoover out all of this. There's a lot of stuff stuck inside here. See what's what, and if you can actually see from the section, so if you look there, so if you actually look there, there's so if you actually look there, that's a folded lip, so the roof skin folds over and onto another frame. I'm quite confident I've got a lot of this spent still anyway, so what I want to do is get rid of the worst of it and go from there. They're going to get warpage in the roof, so I'm going to try and avoid it as much as I can. We do have a whole cut of the whole roof, but if I can avoid it, I'd like to avoid it, because we can do just as good a job but doing it in sections, taking our time, which makes a lot of sense when you want to reduce warpage on the roof. So roof next or door next?